Hi, I'm Tracy Miller and you're watching Eat and Explore. This is our show where we take you from the TVA kitchen all the way out to a hiking trail. Today, we've got a great show lined up for you. We're going to be making banana bread in the TVA kitchen. Now, this is a banana bread that I created when one of my children was really little and all she wanted to do was eat cake bread. We'll be packing our bag with lots of water and sunscreen, and then we're heading out to Beaver Creek. Today we're going to take the Centennial 6 Express lift all the way up to Spruce Saddle, and we're going to do a 1-mile hike. I've got one of my daughters coming with me as well because this is a family-friendly spot. There's a couple different hikes that we'll talk about. We're going to hopefully see some wildlife, and we're going to learn about the flowers that you can find right up at the top of Beaver Creek. We're going to be talking about hiking safely. Here's some safety tips for you right now. This is Eat and Explore, and I'm Tracy Miller. We're heading to the kitchen next. Welcome back to Eat and Explore. I'm Tracy Miller in the TVA kitchen. Whenever I go hiking, I'll tell you something, all I do is think about food the whole entire time. So I'm taking my daughter up to Beaver Creek today for a 1-mile hike, and I'm gonna make one of her favorites, and that's banana bread. So I've got some old bananas. Did you know that bananas and plantains are the most produced and traded fruit in the world? So there's a version of banana bread for everyone. And what happened was my daughter was really young and she loved these quick breads. And I'll tell you about quick breads in a minute. But they have a lot of sugar and a lot of flour, so I had to kind of dumb it down a little bit. So what I'm doing here with banana bread is I have less sugar and less butter. And when you're making a quick bread, you cream the first ingredient. So I have 5 tablespoons of butter. I'm going to put that in my mixer. And I have 1/3 cup of white sugar and 1/3 cup of brown sugar. And brown sugar is one you really like to use up here in the high country because it helps maintain its moisture. So brown sugar and honey are 2 kind of key ingredients when you're baking up here in the high country. So what I'm going to do now is just rise this baby up and turn it on slowly. What we're doing here is we are creaming the butter and the sugar, and this is a method that you use when you're making a quick bread. Now, quick breads actually originated during the Civil War because breads are usually leavened or they usually rise because of yeast. But back in the Civil War, everybody needed some bread. So they didn't have enough time to rise all that bread, so they decided to make something called a quick bread that uses something different as a leavener, which is usually baking soda, and that's exactly what we're going to use today. So that's a little bit of the history on a quick bread, which doesn't take very long to make. Now, my butter's sticking a little bit because it wasn't as warmed up to room temperature as I'd like, so what I'm going to do is just break it up and let that sugar and butter really combine nicely. Once that's combined, I'm actually going to add my eggs and get that all mixed up. Another unique thing about quick breads is you usually have the ingredients separated. So I've got baking soda and baking powder and a little bit of salt separated here, and I have some flour. And another way that I ramped up this bread for my daughter was I added some whole wheat flour. So it tastes pretty good. All right, so this is the consistency that you want your first layer to be at. You want it to be nice and kind of thick, and then you're gonna add 2 eggs to this. And the eggs are also going to help bind it together, and they're also just going to make sure that everything rises properly. So at this point, we're just going to let these stir together. And I like to add cinnamon and vanilla. I'm gonna turn this up just a little bit. We'll get things going. We are talking quick bread right here, right? We gotta get out for a hike here soon. So what I'm gonna use is cinnamon and vanilla to give this some nice flavor. And I have decided to use a fresh vanilla bean. How do you do that? Well, you buy it in the grocery store. It looks like this. And what you do is you take the vanilla bean and you just slice it right down the middle. When you slice it down the middle, it opens it up and you just scrape out all the goodies right there. And that's gonna give it the best vanilla flavor that you can possibly imagine. We're gonna add this vanilla right now to the wet ingredients that we have stirred up in here. And then I'm going to add my leavening, my baking soda and my baking powder. And those two work really well together. And I'm also adding a little bit of salt. We're gonna put a little bit of flour in there. I don't want it to poof up on me, so I'm just gonna add a little bit of the flour and I'm gonna start stirring things slowly while I get my bananas ready. Bananas are really good for you, and a lot of people think of them when they're going out hiking because they have a lot of potassium, which helps your muscles stay strong. But they also have a lot of magnesium, and magnesium is good if you get migraine headaches. It helps to reduce those migraines. So keep eating your bananas. They're inexpensive. When they go bad, you can make this nice, simple, quick bread. And this will be a nice hearty snack for our 1 mile hike this afternoon. I use about 1.5 bananas for this quick bread. And I just use them, you know, when they're starting to get kind of browned up or they're totally browned up. And it gives it a nice banana flavor because actually the more ripe your banana is, the more banana flavor you're going to get. So this dough is looking really good, and if my daughter was actually here with me, we would be testing the dough because that's how you can tell if it's delicious or not. To always test your dough. It's one of my favorite parts about baking and making delicious cookies and quick breads. I'm gonna add the rest of my flour to this. I'm gonna bring it on back up. And we're just gonna let it all mix up really nicely together. And one of the tricks that I use besides the brown sugar is just a little bit of water. So I'm gonna go grab a little bit of water, about a tablespoon of water. We're gonna mix that in with our flour mixture here. That's gonna give it a nice consistency and nice moisture. And it's just gonna let that flour kind of stick around for, you know, so it's not too thick. I'm gonna turn this up just a little bit, get it nice and mixed up. And then I'm going to add the bananas, and I'm also going to add the cinnamon. And cinnamon is so good for you, and it just has such a wonderful flavor that I love adding it to baked goods. Now, if you do add cinnamon to certain things like baked goods that are kind of carb heavy, it actually helps to reduce the amount of sugar that's in there. So if you are suffering from type 2 diabetes, cinnamon is really a good one for you. It helps to reduce your blood sugar level, and when you're working with kind of quick breads or things like this, then that's going to make things a little bit better for you. Maybe a little better, make it feel a little better so you can keep on hiking straight up that mountain. So I'm going to whip this up pretty nicely. I want to get all those bananas mashed. A lot of times people add walnuts to their bread. My daughter doesn't like it, so I'm not going to do it. But if you do add walnuts, what you're going to do is toast those walnuts whole, because anytime you're working with seeds or nuts, you want to toast them whole, and then you want to cut them up afterwards, because that's going to give you all the essential oils that you want from your nuts or your seeds. Make sure you scrape out all the bottom, and this is the consistency that we're looking at for this banana bread. My oven is at 350 degrees. I'm going to cook the banana bread for 50 minutes, but I'm also going to turn it at 40 minutes. Now, I don't care how nice your oven is. If you don't turn your baked goods, you're going to get uneven cooking. No matter how nice it is, no matter what quality you have, if you're not turning these breads, you're going to get uneven cooking. But you don't want to turn them too early. You want to turn them about 40 minutes and then let it cook for another 10 minutes or so. So I'm popping this in the oven right now. I'm going to set my timer for 40 minutes, and then we're going to come back, flip it around, and we're going to get ready for our hike. Welcome back to Eat and Explore. I'm Tracy Miller in the TVA kitchen. If you don't turn your baked goods, you're going to get uneven cooking, but you don't want to turn them too early. You want to turn them about 40 minutes and then let it cook for another 10 minutes or so. The banana bread's been cooking for 50 minutes, so that means it's time to pull it out of the oven. It smells delicious. It smells like a quick bread, and now that you know what that is, you can tell that it's got a lot of sugar and butter, but not quite as much as a lot of the other quick breads. So here we go. We're getting this banana bread ready. I like to cut the sides just so it pulls off and falls intact, and it makes it nice and easy to cut. There we go. I'm gonna flip it over. It's a little hot. I just have to slice a piece to make sure it looks good and tastes good and gets me ready to go hiking outside. So let's see. It's nice and thick. It's got a good consistency and a good color and a little give to it as well. That's what that tablespoon of water really helps give it that moisture. I'm gonna let that cool down a little bit before I pack it in my bag, but right now I wanna talk to you about what to pack in your bag. Of course, we've talked about water. I love the hydration backpack systems because all you do is fill it up with water and then you can just drink it right out of this as you're walking. My kids love to carry it too. But up on top of Beaver Creek, we're gonna have to be really careful with sun. So I've got chapstick with SPF, I have sunscreen, I have my sunglasses, and I have a hat because it is going to get a little bit sunny up there. Oh, one thing I forgot was my raincoat. I'm gonna pack up this bread, I'm gonna go grab my raincoat, and I'll meet you up at the Spruce Saddle Loop. Up on top of the world. You're watching Eat and Explore, and today we're taking a nice easy hike. It's called the Spruce Saddle Loop and it's right on top of Beaver Creek. You take the Centennial Express 6 chairlift up and then you and your whole entire family can do this 1 mile hike. It's gorgeous up here in the summer. It's like a Disney movie. There's flowers, there's butterflies, and there's gorgeous scenery. Be sure to stop by the Beaver Creek Hiking Center to find out more about a variety of hikes throughout the valley.
We've got something for everybody at the Beaver Creek Hiking Center, from our complimentary Spruce Saddle Loop hike to one of our more challenging trails, which would be the Overlook Trail, and that goes right up the front side of the mountain. We've also got our beautiful Alley's Way, village to village, and you can end up all the way in Bachelor Gulch and Arrowhead. So once again, the Beaver Creek Hiking Center has a little something for everybody.
Beaver Creek is a winter wonderland, but it is gorgeous in the summer as well. And there's a ton of stuff to do right here on the mountain. You can rent a bike and go mountain biking, you can go horseback riding, or you can do my favorite thing and you can go hiking. The Beav, as us locals call it, has tons of hikes. They've got hikes from a half a mile all the way up to 4.5 miles. They've got hikes that are easy breezy, or they've got hikes that are gonna take you and your heart rate straight up. When you're deciding what hike fits your family, grab a summer trail map from the hiking center right here in Beaver Creek, and you're gonna recognize how they gauge these hikes. Some of them are marked green, blue, or black for most difficult. Kind of reminds you of skiing, doesn't it? We've packed our bag, we have our snack. Let's just do a couple stretches before we head out on the trail. The first one that I say you definitely must do is stretching those calves out. I like to find a rock and just kind of hang out for a little while. How you doing? My calf is feeling really good. Don't forget to stretch the other one as well. Hold that stretch for about 30 seconds or so, and make sure you get the hamstring too. Touch your toes a couple of times before you head out on that hike. I'm feeling pretty good. I think it's time now to go get on the chairlift. The chairlift ride is almost as gorgeous as the hikes themselves. You can actually see a lot of different mountain ranges behind us. We've got Castle Peak, Red and White Mountain, and of course the Gore Range. It's $26 for a day chairlift pass at Beaver Creek, and you can buy a whole bunch of different combos if you want to do any mountain biking or anything like that, but it's well worth it to get on this chairlift and enjoy the day at Beaver Creek. Wildlife and wildflowers are abundant here in Beaver Creek. In the middle of the daytime though, you probably won't see that much wildlife, but don't forget to look up because red-tailed hawks are all around Beaver Creek. There's a lot of field mice on the ground, and guess what? That's dinner for a red-tailed hawk. Got off of the Centennial Chairlift and now we're up at the top of Beaver Creek. This is an area called Spruce Saddle, and there's a bunch of really cool hikes around here. The hike that we're going to take today is family friendly. It's a 1-mile loop and it's called Spruce Saddle Loop. What we do is walk down the paved path, hang a right, travel east, and then you'll get right onto the path. Let's go check it out.
The Spruce Saddle hike is a great hike here in Beaver Creek. It's a 1-hour nature interpretive hike. We talk about the flora and fauna. We go by the beautiful views of the Gore Valley, and it's really ideally planned for families of all ages.
About 10 minutes or so into the hike, we hit a shady forest and a little downhill, so it gives you time to catch your breath again. Don't forget, there's less oxygen up here in the high altitude, so stop and take a break when you need one because hiking is great exercise. You get a great cardio workout and good muscle workout as well. So stop, take a breather, and drink lots of water before, during, and after the hike. After that shady spot, there's a bunch of trees that have fallen down, and this is a good spot to stop for a snack. The mountain pine beetle has been a menace for the past 8 years here in Colorado and most of the west forests. The only good thing is that when they kill the lodgepole pines, some of them fall, they open up the canopy of the forest and allow new growth, so lots of new aspens are growing in the area. I thought this would be a great spot to stop and have a bite of banana bread. How is it?
Good.
Hiking is great for people that want to get in shape and lose weight. You can start off on easy hikes and then progressively go to higher hikes in elevation. That'll help build muscles and build bones, and that'll help prevent osteoporosis. The shady spot is just about to end and it opens up to gorgeous wildflower fields and views of the Gore Range. Wow, this Spruce Saddle Loop is absolutely beautiful. After that beautiful meadow, boy, I'm glad I did those calf exercises because walking up this small incline, I can feel it in the old calves right now. This incline is going to take us to a beautiful area with tons of flowers, and then there's a deck. I think that's going to be our scenic stop of the day. A great stop is on the Rose Bowl deck. We've got gorgeous views of the Gore Range behind us and a little information on the mountain ranges as well.
Wow, the flowers are so pretty.
This is a great scenic spot. I say Christmas card material. It's a great spot to stop and refuel and have a little snack as well. But don't forget, whenever you're hiking, wherever you're hiking, pack out what you bring in. Don't leave any litter in the forest. A little incline takes us to the end of our Spruce Saddle Loop today. It was a great hike. We saw lots of wildlife and lots of flowers, but if you're not done here, there's another short hike. It's about 1.5 miles and it's called the Discovery Loop, and it actually winds down through Ghost Town. I've already lost Cassidy to the ghosts. So if you need a little more, the Discovery Loop is right down there, but I'll tell you what, I'm done. I'm gonna head up to Spruce Saddle, take a water break, and do a little stretching. We're on top of the world right now. How was that hike, Cassidy?
Good.
Okay, when you are hiking, don't forget, as you can see, the clouds are starting to build up behind me, so bring those layers because it does get chilly up here at this high elevation. Now, my legs feel pretty good, but a few stretches after a hike is always a good idea. So we're gonna do a quad stretch. So let's get really balanced and stretch that quad. Oh, you can feel that. That feels really good. Hold that stretch for about 30 seconds or so, and then don't forget about the other leg. We'll balance and stretch that one out as well. Again, hold it for 30 seconds, and then at the end of your hike, do an all over body stretch. Something like this will tell you what needs more attention. I think it might be my lower back. But all in all, the Spruce Saddle Loop was fabulous. We saw wildlife, we saw wildflowers, and it's time now for us to get back on the chairlift and take a ride down.